The car sitting in your driveway says more about you than you might think. Not because of stereotypes, but because of how human psychology actually works. Your Porsche choice reveals your priorities, your values, and what matters to you. Here's what the research actually shows. Psychologists figured out decades ago that the things we own become part of who we are. Russell Belk called it the extended self. Your possessions reflect your identity and shape how others see you. Cars are especially powerful because they're big, they're visible, and you interact with them every day. When you drive a Porsche, you're not just getting from point A to point B. You're making a statement about what you value. Here's something else researchers found. People choose brands that match how they see themselves and how they want others to see them. This is called self-congruity theory. You don't buy a Porsche by accident. You buy it because something about the brand aligns with who you are. Jennifer Acker created a framework that breaks brand personality into 5 categories: sincerity, excitement, competence, sophistication, and ruggedness. Porsche hits 3 of these hard. The brand signals excitement through performance, competence through engineering, and sophistication through design. Everyone knows this, even if they've never read a spec sheet. Now, let's talk about signaling. Luxury goods send social messages. Some luxury buyers want quiet signals, the kind only insiders recognize. Others want louder cues that broadcast status to everyone. Porsche plays in the quiet luxury space. The crest is small. The cars are recognizable by their shape, not by flashy logos. A 911 especially reads as understated wealth to people who know what they're looking at. That changes everything about what your car communicates. Put all this together and you get a simple truth. Your Porsche reveals a lot about your priorities, not because of tired cliches about midlife crises, but because of how brand history, product design, and owner community intersect with proven psychology. Before we dive into specific models, let's talk about what every Porsche communicates, regardless of which one you buy. First, there's motorsport credibility. Porsche holds the record for most overall victories at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, with 19 wins. They keep racking up class wins too, 112 as of 2025, including back-to-back victories in the GT class. Even people who don't follow racing know Le Mans means something. That racing heritage creates what marketers call a halo effect. Your Porsche signals authentic performance, not just expensive sheet metal. Second, there's the 911 itself. Introduced in 1964 and now in its 8th generation, the 911 has evolved continuously without abandoning its rear engine layout or its essential character. Think about that for a second. It's rare for any product to maintain continuity for 6 decades while staying competitive. That persistence reinforces signals of consistency, substance, and craftsmanship over novelty. Third, owner satisfaction is real and measurable. In J.D. Power's 2024 Automotive Appeal Study, Porsche ranked number 1 among premium brands. They've topped this study 8 times in the last decade. Porsche repeated at number 1 in 2025. Even the electric Taycan won its segment. The Porsche feeling translates across powertrains. This isn't marketing talk. These are independent surveys of actual owners. Fourth, Porsches hold their value. Independent resale analyses consistently put the 911 at or near the top for lowest 5-year depreciation. In 2025, IC Cars reported the 911 and 718 Cayman as the top 2 nameplates for value retention. S&P Global Mobility gave the Porsche 911 the Automotive Loyalty Award in the sports car segment for the 2nd year running. Owners keep their cars. They come back to the brand. That behavior proves something about the ownership experience. These 4 pillars mean that owning any Porsche doesn't just say you bought something expensive. It says you value dynamic ability that's been tested in public. engineering that evolves instead of chasing trends, and a brand that sweats the details enough that owners actually love their cars. Now, here's where things get interesting. Most Porsches on the road aren't sports cars. In 2022, the Cayenne and Macan were the two best-selling model lines worldwide. Together, they accounted for well over half of global deliveries. The 911 sold about 40,000 units that year. Strong numbers, but nowhere close to the SUV volume. In the first half of 2025, the Macan remained the best-selling line with over 45,000 deliveries. Almost 60% of those were the new electric Macan. This sales mix matters for what your Porsche signals. A person in a Cayenne or Macan isn't any less Porsche. They're signaling they want Porsche traits delivered in a package that works for real life, for commutes, for kids, for snow. If you need to carry people and gear without compromising how the car feels to drive, the SUV shape makes sense. That honest fit is what self-congruity is all about. Let's break down what each model signals, starting with the icon. The 911 in any form, whether it's a Carrera, a T, a GTS, a Turbo, or a GT3, communicates serious performance credibility. The rear engine layout and flat six formula remain after 60 years because Porsche iterates the concept instead of replacing it. People who know cars recognize this. In May 2024, Porsche introduced the 911 Carrera GTS as the first road-legal hybridized 911 with their T-hybrid system. The update also brought the first fully digital instrument cluster in a 911 and a start button on the left side. Even the icon embraces change when it makes sense. A 911 in your garage reads as enthusiast credibility with a preference for understated status. You picked performance that's refined rather than flamboyant. You chose the brand's core idea, not the biggest size, not the flashiest logo, not the newest silhouette. It's what you might call the connoisseur's choice. The specific trim matters too. A Carrera or Carrera T signals purest values. You care about driving feel more than spec sheet bragging rights. The Carrera T offered a manual option that appealed to buyers who prioritize engagement. That's a statement right there. The GTS historically sat in the sweet spot, and now it also says you're comfortable with hybridization when it enhances response, not just to check an environmental box. The Turbo and Turbo S signal all-weather capability. These are the cars for people who drive long distances in any season, any conditions. The GT3 and RS models bring track credibility made visible through wings, center lock wheels, and road-legal motorsport parts. It's the least understated signal in the 911 family, but among people who know, it reads as devotion to driving craft. The 718 Cayman and Boxster communicate something different. These cars have mid-engine balance. They're typically lighter and smaller than a 911. You're not settling. You're choosing a different flavor of sports car feel. In resale studies, the 718 Cayman ranks at or near the top of all vehicles for value retention, second only to the 911 in 2025 results. Enthusiasts value these cars highly on the used market. A 718 says you bought driving feel, steering precision, and mid-engine handling without paying for the 911's historical weight or grand touring bandwidth you don't need. To insiders, it reads as one of the smartest choices you can make in the performance world. The Taycan signals tech-forward performance with an environmental angle. The 2025 Taycan update added faster charging, up to 320 kilowatts at high-voltage DC stations, and improved range up to 678 kilometers WLTP, about 421 miles, depending on configuration. They expanded what they call the fast charging window, so high charge rates hold longer. In the US, Porsche EVs are adopting the North American charging standard and gaining access to Tesla's supercharger network. This reduces charging concerns and makes ownership more practical. A Taycan says you're not waiting for EVs to be perfect. You want Porsche driving without tailpipe emissions today. Research shows EV adoption correlates with environmental values, technology interest, and, for some buyers, status through innovation. The Taycan lets you project both innovation and performance credibility. It avoids the appliance feeling some EVs have. The Macan, whether the older gas version or the new electric one, signals balanced priorities. The all-electric Macan moved to a new platform with high-voltage architecture, fast DC charging, and real-world ranges up to 613 kilometers, about 380 miles. Porsche quotes 10 to 80% charges in about 21 minutes under ideal conditions. In the first half of 2025, the Macan was Porsche's best-selling model globally, and almost 60% of deliveries were electric. Choosing a Macan says you want a compact footprint, sports sedan handling, and room for life. If it's the new EV, it adds that you want daily refinement without charging hassles. Among enthusiasts, the Macan is respected as the driver's small SUV. People appreciate the chassis tuning and steering feel. Your Macan tells others that practicality and a well-rounded life matter, but not at the expense of how a car feels to drive. The Cayenne signals what you might call executive athleticism. Historically, the Cayenne transformed Porsche's economics and scale. Porsche itself has said the model rescued the company from a financial crisis. This isn't folklore, it's how the brand describes its own history. Between 2023 and 2025, Porsche refreshed the Cayenne, including plug-in hybrid options, and announced a fully electric Cayenne coming in late 2025 to be sold alongside gas and hybrid variants. A Cayenne says you want the whole package: space, towing capability, refinement, cross-country comfort, and Porsche dynamics. For many people, it reads as a mature expression of performance values. If your Cayenne is a plug-in hybrid, you're showing a preference for technology that reduces fuel use without giving up long-distance capability. The Panamera occupies the executive fastback niche, with genuine Porsche dynamics. While it trails SUVs in volume, it delivered over 34,000 units in 2022. A Panamera says you want the 911's seriousness in a shape that works for business. It signals executive presentation and a driver's car identity at the same time. Because Porsches are among the most configurable vehicles on sale, two identical models can tell very different stories. Color matters enormously. Porsche's customization department offers more than 190 paint-to-sample colors across model lines, with Paint-to-Sample Plus enabling custom hues after feasibility testing. An unusual color like Signal Yellow or Ruby Star Neo communicates individuality, design sensitivity, and connection to Porsche heritage. A standard black communicates understatement or pragmatism. Neither is right or wrong. Each is a choice about identity. Interior choices move your signal along a range from classic to tech modern. Houndstooth inserts, heritage design cues, wood versus carbon, extended leather, these details matter. Porsche has run a customization department since 1986 and offers thousands of options. At the far end, Porsche's Sonderwunsch program creates one-off or near one-off builds with customers. Doing Sonderwunsch signals how you like to work with brands, collaboratively and deeply. Wheels and brakes shift how people read your car too. Carbon ceramic brakes and track-oriented tires suggest intended use even if the car spends most of its time on public roads. People who pay attention notice and adjust their interpretation. The Porsche owner community adds another layer to what your car signals. The Porsche Club of America calls itself the largest single-mark car club in the world, with over 165,000 members. Membership says you participate, not just own. Rennsport Reunion, Porsche's global enthusiast festival, set an attendance record in 2023, with 91,000 people over 4 days at Laguna Seca. Being there or posting from it signals community identity, not just consumption. Let's talk about demographics briefly. Reliable public demographic data is surprisingly hard to find, but we have some solid data points. Porsche Club of America subscriber data shows high household incomes, 88% over $100,000, 57% over $150,000, 29% over $250K. That tracks with common sense for a premium brand. Broader luxury and sports car demographics tend to skew male and somewhere between 35 and 49 in many markets. A 2023 UK-based study showed 93% male among what they called supercar owners. Think of this as directional rather than precise for Porsche specifically. You'll see widely repeated figures online for 911 buyer age or income, but these are typically dealer anecdotes or forum discussions without solid current sources. The bottom line is a Porsche generally signals higher income and net worth in the statistical sense, but the specific kind of status depends on model and how you configure it. The brand gives you unusual control over whether you signal loud or quiet, classic or modern, individualist or minimalist. Technology choices now communicate almost as much as the car's shape. The 2024 911 update made news for its fully digital instrument cluster and left side start button. These changes represent a fork in the road for identity. Some owners prefer heritage cues like analog dials. Others embrace current technology. Neither is right, but each shapes how the car is perceived. In North America, Porsche's adoption of Tesla's charging standard and access to superchargers changes what your Taycan or Macan EV communicates. It moves the signal from brave early adopter to smart pragmatic adopter. That's a shift toward mature technology choice rather than technology experiment. People who follow the market associate Porsche with what they call value over volume. In 2025 updates, Porsche executives said the company is managing supply and demand carefully amid uneven EV adoption and regional challenges. Owners who talk about their cars in these terms often project a collector mindset rather than a commodity mindset. Porsche's operating profit margin was 18% in 2023, exceptionally high for an automaker. The company projected 15 to 17% for 2024 as it refreshed 4 major model lines, and the year closed at about 14%. That profitability means the brand can afford to keep developing excellent products. It reassures owners their investment will be supported. The SUVs didn't hurt Porsche, they broadened it. Porsche itself has said the Cayenne rescued the company from crisis. The sales mix today proves SUVs are how most buyers access Porsche dynamics. If you want your car to communicate integration, work, family, travel, changing seasons, rather than single-purpose focus, the SUVs do that honestly. From the legendary 917s and 956s to modern GT3 customer racing programs, Porsche is one of the few car makers whose racing record is part of mainstream awareness. As of 2025, the company still holds the overall Le Mans win record at 19 and keeps adding class wins. Even a Macan driver benefits from that racing reputation. People process it as substance, whether they realize it consciously or not. Specific choices communicate different things. A manual gearbox on a 911 or 718 says you actively chose engagement over absolute speed. Among enthusiasts, this reads as purist rather than spec chaser. The dual-clutch PDK transmission with Sport Chrono says you want repeatable performance and flexibility for commutes, passengers, and track days. Track-oriented specifications like GT models, carbon ceramic brakes, and high-performance tires identify you as a driver first. The car is not theater. Paint the sample heritage color with classic interior says you care about lineage and design history. Dark paint with minimal options signals either understatement or practicality. Among insiders, this often reads as someone who values driving more than display. A Taycan Cross Turismo with roof rails projects the outdoor-oriented EV owner image, modern utility with taste. A Macan or Cayenne with towing package signals real capability, boats, track trailers, mountain bikes, paired with performance. None of this is absolute. Signals can be mixed. A Garage Queen on carbon ceramics sends conflicting messages. Some owners buy features for reasons outsiders can't see. A knee injury means automatic transmission. An understated configuration avoids unwanted attention. But on average, people read these choices pretty consistently. Let's address stereotypes with what data actually supports. The midlife crisis idea is convenient storytelling, not evidence. What independent measures show is that 911s hold value exceptionally well and generate high loyalty. These are owner behaviors that signal commitment rather than impulse. The 911 is also unusually practical for a sports car with rear seats for kids and trunk space up front. That makes it sensible for people who drive daily. 718 owners get labeled purists, and there's some truth to it. To many observers, a 718 owner prioritized balance and steering feel over the iconic nameplate or extra space. The resale market's respect for 718s validates that the enthusiast community understands what you did. Taycan owners blend technology interest and environmental awareness. Because Porsche improved charging performance to 320 kilowatt peak and broadened charging access with the charging standard and superchargers, the Taycan owner increasingly reads not as early adopter at any cost, but as selective adopter where the driving still feels like a Porsche. To many people, that's progress without compromise. Macan and Cayenne owners signal mature performance priorities. The SUV's dominance in sales and positive response to the electric Macan show that perceptions have updated. Today, the reading is usually you have a full life, you care how a car drives, and you picked a form that doesn't force compromises that don't fit your life. Panamera owners project identity. Your car might park regularly at the office, but it's communicating you haven't given up the idea that a luxury car should still drive like a performance machine. If you want to fine-tune what your car communicates, use what research says about identity and signaling. Decide how understated or obvious you want your luxury to be. If you want insiders to recognize it while the general public barely notices, stick to classic colors, conservative trim, and the 911 or 718 body styles. If you want broader recognition, lean into vivid paint to sample colors or GT car aerodynamics. Choose form to fit your actual life. If your real life includes car seats, snow, gravel roads, and warehouse store runs, a Macan or Cayenne is more honest than forcing a two-seat solution. If you have the freedom and intent to pursue track days, a GT3 configuration aligns your car with your planned use. Identity and use line up. If technology is part of your identity, make it visible and functional. In North America, a Taycan with easy supercharger access and new, faster charging hardware isn't just a better EV. It's a better signal of intelligent technology adoption. Lean into community if you want the we, not me signal. Porsche Club of America membership, driver education events, and Rennsport attendance tell a story about participation. Because Porsches are expensive, many people still assume income or net worth signals. That assumption isn't always accurate, but the statistical association is real. If you're concerned about appearing flashy, the 911 or 718 in understated colors, or a Macan configured like a business tool rather than a statement piece, keeps the signal on taste and substance rather than price. The 2024 911 update shows a broader shift happening. Even icons adopt digital interfaces. Porsche's materials confirm the fully digital instrument cluster and start button. Some people miss the physical tachometer needle, but fully digital layout communicates currency and capability with multiple views and integration. Analog dials communicate heritage. Pick what fits your identity and know people looking at your interior photos will interpret accordingly. 2 reasons Porsche reveals who you are more than many brands. First, continuity plus choice. The 911's 6-decade continuity creates a stable identity signal you can adjust with configuration, while the SUVs and EVs let you carry that identity into any life stage. Few brands offer that range without fragmenting what they stand for. Second, built-in personalization. From 1980s customization roots to today's paint-to-sample and Sonderwunsch programs, Porsche has made your taste part of their product. Your car can be unmistakably yours, visually and materially, within a shared respected brand framework. The Cayenne and Macan didn't water down Porsche. Company communications credit the Cayenne with stabilizing and growing the business. SUVs are most of their deliveries today. That didn't stop Porsche from continuing the 911 GT cars or reinforcing the 718's driver focus. The Taycan is absolutely a real Porsche. Independent owner satisfaction surveys place Porsche at the top among premium brands, and the Taycan has won segment awards. The company upgraded charging performance and network access, meaningfully improving everyday experience. The motorsport record and engineering culture that define Porsche don't disappear because energy is stored in a battery. The 911 holds value, period. Multiple independent analyses show the 911 with the lowest 5-year depreciation among all vehicles, with the 718 close behind. Porsche still races. They hold the Le Mans overall win record at 19 and keep adding class victories, including recent wins. Whether or not you track your car, the brand earns its performance reputation on track.